Hello, so my name's Julie. I'm going to be doing my project on math in cosmetics. I know that most people are probably very confused on how you can get math and makeup related, but to your surprise and my surprise as well, there's actually a lot of math involved. There's a lot of geometry in creating a perfect makeup look, and after doing a lot of research, there's actually a lot of mathematical modeling, chemistry, and a lot of statistics as well. I'll get further in depth with this as I go along in my presentation, but I'm also going to be using R to create graphs that show comparisons of makeup brands in South Korea versus American brands. And the reason I picked South Korea is because they're actually known for having good quality makeup products, and a lot of their ingredients are very important to their brands. So in this third bullet point here, I have a quote from one of the articles that I researched. It states companies use mathematical analysis and data to evaluate consumer preferences, predict trends, and ensure accurate pricing for products. The presence of math in makeup goes beyond the surface level. It is an integral part of the formulation, production, and marketing processes that contribute to the creation of our favorite beauty products. So I decided to choose this quote because it states right there that the presence of math goes beyond the surface level. So just like a lot of other brands, not just makeup, they use statistics to recognize like how their sales are doing and to recognize patterns in order to see if a product is successful or not. And they do this by minimizing the waste in product and money, and it's basically called mathematical optimization. So this next slide goes a little bit into the chemistry of makeup. It's about like the creation process. And this quote that I took from one of the articles is a very simple math equation, but it's very important to the creation of makeup because it ensures that you have like the right balance of the ingredients that you need in order to ensure good quality products. And it's also important to do this because you want to make sure that these products have a good shelf life and that they're not going to expire soon after purchasing these products. So it might seem simple, but it's very important as well. This next slide is about the geometry in makeup. So as a female who loves makeup, I'm actually aware of some of this already. Basically, it kind of has to do with like your face shape. So let's just say that you have a rounder face, then what you want to do for your makeup, especially with like contouring and, chiseling your face out, you want to bring this up and lift your face. Whereas you can, if you apply it the wrong way, then it'll make your face sunken in. Anyway, this first picture is going to be of eyebrows. So it's called an eyebrow mapping map. And this is just to show how you can get perfectly symmetrical eyebrows. And there's a lot of symmetry in makeup. You want to make sure everything looks good, everything looks symmetrical, everything looks even. And that's why I mentioned that as well with the eyeliner. Next up, we have color theory. So up in the top right corner, I have a picture of a hexadecimal color wheel. So this is used to find complementary colors, colors that are just suiting each other. So let's just say you have green eyes and you're looking for an eyeshadow color that's going to be complementary to your eyes. You would go directly across and get something that's magenta. So this way it would make your eyes pop. So this is basically just used for like abstract looks. It ensures that you have a cohesive and aesthetically pleasing outcome for your makeup look. So before we really start getting into the statistics in makeup, here's just some quotes that I took from some articles that I've researched. So this first one kind of reiterates what I said in the beginning. So it states statistical analysis helps identify trends, patterns, and potential issues in makeup production. This next one says health and beauty e-commerce sales are projected to grow by 77% between 2021 and 2026. So this was just a little statistical quote that I wanted to put in there because 77% is a large percentage to be growing. So here's where I start to compare the American cosmetic brands with the South Korean makeup brands. So when it comes to the American data, that was very straightforward. I gathered it all from Statista, which is a website to gather data from various different subjects. Although the South Korean data was not given straight up. So basically what I had to do was using other resources, I had to gather some data while also estimating some of the values. So I did that by taking the populations of the two countries. So the American population is 333 million, while the population of South Korea is 51.63 million people. So since South Korea's population is roughly 16% of Americans, I took the data from America and took about 16% of it to use as the South Korean data. So now we're going to be looking into the graphs a little bit. This is what I created using R. On the right here, we have the codes that I used. I basically just did a comparison bar chart just to compare the two, just to see like relative trends and everything. So getting into the graph now, the blue is going to be for American cosmetic industry, and the black is going to be for South Korean. So on the x-axis, we have the years, and this is from 2015 to 2023, while on the y-axis, we have the amount of money in billions. As you can see in the graph that I created, you can see that it starts increasing and keeps increasing as years go on, with the exception of 2020 when obviously the pandemic happened. So besides that, it is relatively increasing pretty quickly. I actually added a quote too from a article that said the United States beauty and personal care product market size The United States beauty and personal care products market size is expected to grow from 91.34 billion in 2023 to 104 billion by 2028. So this is basically what's being shown in the graph that I created, so that would make sense, especially because it's the beauty industry. So I also created another comparison bar chart. This one, instead of revenue in the cosmetic company, this one is comparing which generation specifically look out for the ingredients in their makeup when they're purchasing it. The different generations that I chose are baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Z, and millennials. And this is also data that's taken from Statista. Instead, I just used it to compare it to South Korea again. This is all from the year 2022, and again in the graph, the blue is going to be for American, while black is South Korean. So, for example, roughly 61% of the millennials in America, they check for specific ingredients when purchasing their makeup, and roughly 64% of millennials in South Koreans check for specific ingredients when purchasing cosmetic products as well. So the ingredients are one of the main reasons why I chose to compare American brands to South Korean. As I mentioned before, they typically have more highly rated ingredients, stuff that's really better for your skin. So this graph goes to show that like roughly half of the cosmetic consumers in America, as well as South Korea, they're typically interested in the types of ingredients for their everyday products, which makes sense because you're putting that on your face every day. You want to make sure that you have the best products. Over on the right side, we have the R codes that I used. It's very similar to the ones that I used in the previous slide. This time, I just kind of switched up the data a little bit. Next, we're going to go a little bit into the mathematical modeling that's in makeup. So it says here that for modeling techniques, the mathematical equations used are in the form y equals f of u and z in accordance with the proposed definition of a mathematical model. So in this article, it explains the 5 different steps of computational modeling, and that's for emulsions. And what an emulsion is basically mixing two liquids that don't usually mix, and you're creating something new. As you can see on the left here, there's a graph that I took directly from the site. And this is the last step that they described in the process. It's kind of just interpreting all of the results together. It's referring to the pH levels that are in makeup, germs, the evaporation residue, and relative density. These next 3 graphs are also taken directly from the website. So in the first one that we have here, it's going to be the evaporation loss in time. So basically, when you're creating makeup, you don't want there to be a lot of water lost. They have these water tanks that I was researching that basically store water at a temperature, and it gets put back into that makeup after it's created if too much water is lost. So as you can see in the first one, you can see over the testing period how the percentage goes down, and that's the ideal situation that we want to happen. The next one we have is pH. So when it comes to pH, you want to have a very balanced pH level in all the makeup products. That's a very important thing to have, or else it might affect the skin in unwanted ways. Lastly is the graph for the relative density over time. So basically, you don't want to have a product that's too dense because it might be difficult to apply, and if you have a product that's too light, it might not provide the best coverage. So you want that to be pretty balanced for the product. Lastly here, I have how augmented reality is coming to makeup. It's another way that mathematical models are being used in this industry. They work accurately to map out one's facial features, and they stimulate what each color looks like on everyone. Of course, this doesn't go just for makeup, but this is specifically for how it's working in makeup. If you don't know what augmented reality is, I provided an example to the right. It is basically when you open the front camera when you're shopping, and it'll give you the option to virtually try it on. You'll open the camera and you'll say you're looking for a lipstick color. You'll be able to tell if that's a perfect fit for you. Same goes with like eyeliner or blush, anything like that. It's an upcoming technology that's coming to this industry, and it makes virtually trying on these products much easier. Lastly here, I have a quote from the augmented reality in the beauty and cosmetic industry that says, globally, applications of virtual and augmented reality in the cosmetics and beauty markets is set to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 25.5% from 2022 to 2027, which is a very high growing rate. A lot of the things that I discussed today in this slide show that these rates are going to be increasing rapidly when it comes to the revenue in makeup, as well as augmented reality. And I found it very interesting, and I really enjoyed researching everything on how math works in makeup, since I love makeup, and I found this to be a lot of fun.